This is TNC Movie Nights.
Charge!
Stuff in there. Yes. So we are reviewing Arsenic and Old Lace. You know, very famous movie that everyone has definitely heard of, and I'm surprised we haven't got to it by now. I'm obviously joking. This is a movie that we just both found out about, like, a few days ago. Thanks,
yesterday.
Sahara. Yeah. But the charge, that's so funny, man. We'll get into more of what that means. But first off, how you been, Brandon?
Doing well, man. This movie was a lot of fun. It's definitely put a smile on my face last night watching it at 2 a.m. But yeah, I'm really excited to talk about this movie. Another decent day of work though today. Went by relatively quick. I feel like tomorrow's gonna drag though. We'll see. But you won't have to hear about that till next week, so that's good. That is good. As you guys may notice as well, these episodes are kind of coming out different than normal time frames. We're trying to just figure out a good time frame to drop these episodes. We used to structure this around TNC episodes that would come out, but now we're just going to kind of do it how we want to do it for the schedule. So we're going to try to figure out what fits best for us and, the viewers.
Yeah, we'll still be doing viewer. We got two. We can call it plural now.
Hell yeah, that's what I like to see.
Yeah, speaking of two, we'll still be doing 2 a week. We'll still stick to that main structure of one topic episode and then one review episode. It's just when they come out might change, but we'll plug it on everything. If you're on the Nerd Chambers website or any of our socials, you'll see it get posted from that sort of stuff. But anyway, as Brandon said, let's charge into this one. What's your right off the bat initial first thought after seeing this movie?
9 out of 10. It was a fun freaking time. I really liked this movie a lot. It didn't feel like it was made in the 50s, to be pretty honest with you. Like, there wasn't a whole lot in this movie I really was just like, oh yeah, that's just not normal for how a movie would have been made. Yeah, it was... This movie was black and white. I don't know why for a second I was like, yeah, it was in color? But no, it was a lot of fun. The jokes landed really well, and it was surprising for a lot of different aspects of the movie for... just how well things were able to be pulled off. And I personally, I know I kind of told you, this movie honestly kind of felt almost more like a horror movie at times. Like, I thought the aspects in this movie at times was a better horror film than most horror films of today.
Yeah, this is definitely, like, I don't know. I think the technical genre that was listed on, like, IMDb or whatever, it was a comedy noir movie. But yeah, I mean, it's sort of a satirical horror flick in the same breath, and it's definitely funny throughout. It's definitely a comedy, but with some of like sort of a twist on a little bit of a horror topic, kind of like a not to the level of like Cabin in the Woods, but like taking sort of dark horror aspects and just turning it on its head and making it a comedy out of it. And some of the stuff in this, man, it really does feel like it's not that old. Sahara and I were talking about that the whole time. We were like, you could make this movie today and it would be successful. It's just that sort of idea of funny. Its sense of humor didn't get lost with the times or anything like that. It's the stuff that you can still see now. There was definitely some physical humor in there, but it wasn't absurdist physical humor or anything like that. The absurdity came from the dialogue, which is something that we see all the time. And it's something that I kind of like. It's secretly one of my favorite types of comedy. The quick-witted, absurd answer that just kind of everyone's just like, yeah. Like when they were talking about even like the intro, when you saw the little dialogue box pop up and it said, what was it? From here in, you're on your own. I thought that was really funny, like breaking the fourth wall a little bit, and they did that more than once. Or even like how Teddy thinks he's just Teddy Roosevelt, and everyone's just like, oh yeah, so they're referring to him as Mr. President, and then they're calling up like the psych ward and like, ooh, we have a few Teddy Roosevelts now, but we are short on Napoleons. Like that sort of quick-witted, heavy dose of sarcasm, so much so that it's just a normal conversation, but completely absurd. I love that humor, and it shows you that it's not a new premise,
Yeah, there's a lot of just great things they did with the dialogue and how, again, this is something I brought up in the last episode when it came to the 50s when we talked about comedy. This was a lot of how things were said, not what was said at times. Because a lot of it was just kind of stupid things that were said, but just the way they said it just so nonchalantly was like, oh my God, that's hilarious. So there is so many moments like that, and I'm just looking at it right now. I want to find out where it plays next or something, but there's actually a play of this. I want to go see the Arsenic Plays play. That'd be great.
Actually, I was going to save this for the end, but fun facts about the play is that most of the actors who are in this movie came from the original stage play. Oh, wow. And also, you know how throughout they made the joke that Jonathan looked like Boris Karloff?
Yeah.
That's because in the play, Jonathan was Boris Karloff. He played Jonathan in the stage play.
That's
and
awesome.
he was actually supposed to play him in the movie, but he was under contract with a different company and he couldn't get out of it. And he was actually like super pissed off that he didn't get to play the part. But that's what all of those callbacks to Boris Karloff were, and why he looked vaguely like Frankenstein. And so that was in a direct nod to saying, hey, you look like Boris Karloff.
That's awesome.
Oh, also apparently, another thing with just a little fun fact about this is, you know how much time they spent on the phone throughout this? That was apparently aggressive product placement. That was like if someone throughout the entire thing was like holding up a Coke with like the label out and only drinking that, because that Bell phone was like the first one that had the microphone and the receiver in the same part. It wasn't like the holding it up to your ear and talk. Yeah. And so having that on here was like aggressive product placement.
That's funny.
Another little fun fact. But yeah, the stage play, that would be really fun to see someone do that now. And it'd be really easy to do, because this entire movie takes place just in the house. You could do this with one set. Yep. And it kind of goes back to what we were talking about, how a lot of these comedies, whether it is a sketch comedy or a narrative that spans feature length, film length, it feels very stage play-y, where it's like it's not metaphorical different acts. It's not like, oh, I can sense the change here. It's literally like clear the stage, reset it with different actors, and then start again and start anew. And that bit is over, this bit is now in. It's just like, oh, Jonathan's in, that's the bit here. Oh, Dr. Einstein's in, that's the bit here. And it was all together, but they were all individual things that slowly sort of morphed into one story. And I think it was done beautifully.
Yeah, it was it was really shocking that with a movie that is from 44, that I was able just to really I got so involved in this movie more than I do, I feel like, with a lot of movies today. And I was trying to be critical with when I could at times, because there are things that just, it feels like an old movie. But all in all, I just got really developed in this movie really fast. And it was kind of shocking they were able to kind of play that the semi-horror aspect with, of course, the I think the ants, like, who murdered the people, and then you had oh my goodness, I can't think of his name now, Jefferson, or it was the brother. It was
Jonathan.
Jonathan, thank you.
Yeah.
How he had his own murder stuff going on, but they played it off in such a comedy light. And God, it's just so weird on how well it worked, because I like I said, I texted you during it, and I was just like, this feels more like a horror than a comedy, but it was just plays so well. If they would have just changed the tone and the music at times, this would have been a horror. So it was so well put together.
Absolutely. I love how ridiculous it got at some points too, like when Jonathan and his aunts, they were all talking, and Dr. Einstein's like, oh, you're both at 12. I'm like, oh no, you can't count that one. You're not at 13. You're at 12. You're at 12. They're at 12 and you're at 12. You guys are like the same. And it's just so on the nose sometimes, and it is so funny. And I love that like passive absurdity where it's just like, you're not get it? You're just like having a straight up conversation, but it is absurd. Like, even I jotted down at the very beginning, when Teddy was playing the piano, and someone else sneezed, and he was like, oh, I must be getting a cold, and they were like, oh no, that was someone else sneezing. And you're like, just like, to play that so straight faced, it's so stupid, but the way that it's done and how straight faced it was so damn funny. And they do that throughout the whole entire movie. And just the fact that, like, he never wavers from thinking he's Teddy Roosevelt. I think that is so funny. I appreciate commitment to a bit so much. And I love how far they go with it. And every time he's running up the stairs, charge! Just as like he's giving it his all, man. He is holding nothing back. It is so damn funny.
And then it was right at the end of the film too, when the like the head of the psychiatric ward or something was like walking up the stairs, and he's like, "Don't charge." It's like the little stuff like that was just so well placed in the movie.
Oh my god, it was so funny. I love how absurd this movie is, but it's not. It's weirdly not over the top, and I keep saying the word absurd, but it's the only way I can describe it. It is like an absurdist sort of thing, but in a really, really, really funny way. I love the scenes when they're describing like the play, but it's really just like what's going on. Like Mortimer's just sitting in the chair describing the play. Yeah, it's just like so beautifully done. It's so cheesy, and it could so easily not be like clever. It could just be stupid, but it was executed so perfectly that it ends up being so clever.
It's also one of those things, though, that we kind of get to see the roots of where that kind of stuff started, because that is something you do kind of see in today's movies. Very, very rarely now, but that is something you do see at times, and it was always kind of cool to kind of see where that stemmed from back in the 40s. Was at least one of the first times it was done, so it's very cool to kind of see that kind of come full circle.
Totally. And like we said before, with breaking the fourth wall more than once in this movie, but just like very quickly. That wasn't a big thing, but it was definitely like he would do it like the almost Jim from The Office reaction to the camera. That's just really, really well done. And even just like critically speaking, some of the camera work in this movie was really, really great. I loved the scene when Jonathan and Dr. Einstein are in the basement, and it's just this big imposing shadow of his head talking to the diminutive curling up on the stairs Dr. Einstein, to just really show that power dynamic between them. It's really subtle but yet really powerful between that. And some of the, especially like when the lights were out, some of those shots where you saw just enough but you couldn't tell everything that was going on, but you knew what was going on. It was really, really well done.
Yeah. Funny that you mentioned that now, because one of the scenes I really loved, it was right in the start of the movie. It's something we don't really see at all anymore, but I feel like it was kind of like in 90s movies a little bit, and it was right when the movie started. It was like really close up on the guy's face and then pulls out with the crowd. Like, I really loved that just camera sequence right there. I thought was really neat. It's the little things like that in the movie that were just very surprising and just made you kind of smile, like, wow, that was actually really good back in the... Not even just for like a 44 movie, but just for a today's movie, that would have been like really nice to see too. So
absolutely. And I love that whole opening scene. It really sets the table to show you how weird the movie's going to get, because it's just like, oh, okay, we're at a baseball game, which has nothing to do with the rest of the movie. And then there's one bad call, and the dude just rips the ump's mask off and just starts punching him out. And then there's just this straight up brawl going on of people just knocking each other out on a baseball field, and then they just go to the house, and you're like, okay, that's a weird way to start your movie, but I feel like that is such a beautiful way to get you into the right mindset of just being like, what the hell was that? But also laughing at it.
Yeah.
And it just coasted with that the whole movie. Even in some of the passive scenes where there's not a lot of physical action going on, the dialogue is so quick, and it's so just like one after the other, where if you blink you'll miss it sort of thing. And it's all so clever. It's that like it's that dumb clever, or like the stupid smart sort of thing, where it takes a lot to like get that down and to have everything be so quick and so witty and so funny and so like sort of back burner. It wasn't focusing on like, this is the joke. It was just a conversation, and if you don't get it, it's gone just as quickly as it came. They don't give you time to think about it, but they're so damn funny. And I love movies like that. It almost needs a second watch so you could pick up on some of the quick wit stuff that you missed the first time.
Yeah, it was a very pleasant surprise. And if anyone out there, if you have Vudu, Amazon, anything, if you have $4 to throw and you don't know what to watch, I I would really recommend this movie. You kind of get to look back to see what movies almost 100 years ago were like. And it's a good time. It really is. It's a lot of fun, way better than I thought it would be.
Yeah, absolutely. I couldn't agree more. I was so pleasantly surprised by this movie, and I expected it to be good. So take that for what you will. And if you haven't seen it, like we said, do it. And if you have seen it, tell us what your favorite part was, because there are a lot of very weird, very different moments in this movie that I feel like some people could absolutely love and other people would absolutely hate. So just tell us what you think. Go give it a watch and let us know.
Yeah, definitely. Very well said.
Oh, one more fun fact before we go. Cary Grant did not like his role in this. It was his least favorite role he ever had. He felt it was way over the top, and he felt he played it a little bit too out there. I think he nailed it, though, because that sort of like panicked look in his eyes, and he slowly got crazier and crazier throughout the movie. I thought it was great. But thought I'd throw that in there as another little fun fact. Thanks, Sahara. She's all about those fun facts. I love it. Anything else you want to say about this movie before we head out of here?
No. I think you covered it all.
Yeah, I think we're good. On that note then, Brandon, why don't you tell the people where they can find us?
Yes, the people can find us real simply thenerdchambers.com. As Alex showing, just typing away. Yeah, it's thenerdchambers.com. All of our shows, anything on there from movies, video games, Pokemon, gaming news, all that good stuff is on there as well. And if you just want to contact us, just check us out on any social media platform, TNC Movie Nights. Real simple. It's even, boom, on a shirt. Look at that. If you forget and you're stupid like me, go buy a shirt. It's right there. You'll never forget. If you want to support
Mine got
us.
snapped.
Yeah, yours has gotten Thanos snapped. But if you want to go ahead and go get a shirt, it is on the website as well. In the merch shop, click the link, and thank you so much for the support. We do appreciate it. It was a fun time. Arsenic and Lace. It's a fun movie. It was really good.
Arsenic and Old Lace.
Arsenic and Old Lace. Thank you. Yeah, the old. Yeah, thank you.
Very old.
Very fun movie. A lot of good moments. But Alex, anything else for the people?
That's it, man. Have fun. Go watch it. Let us know what you think. Alex, Brandon, see you guys.